you'd know if you were being gaslit, right? That certainty is exactly why it works. Gaslighting doesn't arrive dressed as control. It feels like slowly losing trust in your own mind, and by the time you can finally name it, you've usually stopped believing the one witness who was in every room, you. So this isn't a checklist of red flags, it's a look inside the mind doing it, and what it quietly does to yours. Start with the feeling, because you already know it. You walk into a room to say one clear thing, and somehow you walk back out apologizing for a sentence you never even finished. You can't find the moment it flipped, you just know you came in holding a point and left holding the blame. Here's the reframe that changes everything. That wasn't a bad argument, it wasn't a communication problem. A sociologist named Paige Sweet, whose research at Harvard reshaped how we understand this, put it plainly. Gaslighting isn't really about facts at all. It runs on power. It works by quietly borrowing what the world already whispers about you, that you're too sensitive, too emotional, too much, and turning those whispers into a lever that pries you loose from your own reality. So no, you're not crazy for feeling foggy. You're not too much. The fog was the point, and someone benefits from you living inside it. But why would someone do this? Most people picture a cartoon villain twirling a plan. It's rarely that. Psychologists have a name for the cluster of traits common in people who manipulate as a first language, the dark triad. Researchers Delroy Paulhus and Kevin Williams at the University of British Columbia grouped 3 overlapping tendencies under it: narcissism, a cold strategic streak, and a thin capacity for guilt. And for people high in these traits, controlling how you see reality isn't cruelty for sport, it's regulation. If your version of events is always a little unstable, theirs never has to be. Your doubt is the thing that keeps them feeling certain. Think about that. They're not trying to win the argument, they're trying to own the scoreboard so the score can never be checked. The first tool is almost too simple to believe: flat denial. I never said that. You're remembering it wrong. That never happened. Said not with anger, with calm. And the calm is the whole trick, because anger you'd resist, certainty you absorb. Here's what makes it work. Elizabeth Loftus, one of the most cited memory scientists alive, showed it in a now famous experiment. People watched a film of a car crash. When she asked how fast the cars were going when they smashed into each other, they gave higher speeds, and a week later, many remembered broken glass that was never in the footage. One word rewrote what they'd seen with their own eyes. That's the leverage. Your memory isn't a recording, it's a story you retell every time you reach for it. And a confident person, editing it out loud, can reach in and swap the picture while you're still looking at it. Now the more disorienting version, when it's not about the past, but what's happening right in front of you. You saw what you saw, you felt what you felt, and they look at you, completely unbothered, and describe a different reality with total conviction. There's a reason that lands on us. In the 1950s, a psychologist named Solomon Asch at Swarthmore College ran a simple test. He'd show people 2 lines and ask which was longer. Obvious, except everyone else in the room was secretly in on it and confidently picked the wrong one. And a striking share of people denied their own eyes just to agree with the group, out loud, about a line they could plainly see. A gaslighter is that whole room compressed into one person who never blinks. And when someone won't flinch, part of you quietly assumes they must know something you don't, so you start checking the traffic instead of trusting that the light was red. And maybe that's the part that haunts people most. How did I not notice? You're not naive. You'd have walked out on day 1 if anyone had opened with "you're insane." But nobody opens with that. It starts so small you'd feel dramatic objecting. Something minor, you're overreacting, and maybe you were a little, so you let it slide. Then, weeks later, that's not what I said, and you second guess instead of pushing back. Then, you're imagining things, and by now, doubting yourself is just the habit. Each small surrender quietly lowers the bar for the next one until the floor has moved so far you can't remember where it used to be. Nobody flips your reality in one move. They turn it down 1 degree at a time, like a thermostat nudged a single degree a night until you're sitting there freezing and fully convinced you're just someone who always ran cold. Here's the question that carries the most shame, so let's take the shame out of it. If part of you senses something's wrong, why is it so hard to walk away? The answer isn't weakness. It's one of the most powerful behavioral hooks ever documented. B.F. Skinner at Harvard found the most compelling reward isn't a reliable one, it's an unpredictable one. A machine that pays out every single time gets boring. A machine that pays out sometimes at random keeps your hand on the lever for hours. That's what the good days are doing. The apology, the warmth, the person you first fell for briefly reappearing. That's not the relationship, that's the jackpot. And because you can never predict when it's coming, you keep pulling the lever, chasing the version of them that shows up just often enough to keep you seated. The cruelty isn't what traps you, the kindness is. And this is the cost that never makes it onto the label, because it doesn't stay inside the relationship, it moves into you. So which part of this felt a little too familiar? Drop it in the comments. If this finally gave you language for something you couldn't name, subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.